Maybe those tariffs aren't as bad as I thought they were going to be. We've talked about some stuff price wise that could be affected by the tariffs, and there may be a bottom line underlying benefit to tariffs that we didn't even think about, getting rid of our gas or gear acquisition syndrome. Now, we've already seen some companies come out and they announce new products, and then they've already done some quick adjustments. Now, this is some stuff that's not really everyday carry, but I want to just show you some immediate effects of tariffs. So Blackmagic announced the Pixis 12K camera literally 2 days ago from the filming of this video. I'm filming this video April 6th, 2025. When they announced it at $4,995. And then literally the next day, they adjusted the price to $6,500 due to the upcoming tariffs. That's something to think about. Something that could be a part of your future everyday carry. It could be a part of your kids' play times, or just something that you may want to pick up for yourself. Nintendo announced the Nintendo Switch 2 after the one that's been out for close to a decade. And then they're going to pause pre-orders because they don't know if they're going to bump up the price. It's already $449. They may bump that price up because, of course, they're coming overseas from Japan. So they're kind of thinking about, do they want to bump the price up? I want to dive into the thoughts of, although prices are being adjusted and people are rethinking these things on the fly, we all may have just a little bit of gear acquisition syndrome. We kind of know the drill. New knife on deck. Swipe my card, please. Oh, titanium pry bar. I'll take two. I know I already have a wallet, but I mean, might as well just give it a look. Whenever we see that pocket organizer, we see that new limited edition flashlight, it's like a siren call to our wallets. Maybe these tariffs are the kick in the pants for us to just tone it down a little bit when it comes to spending on our EDC. Think of it this way. Imagine that new knife is about to drop. We know Taylor Martin just dropped the Civivi Klingman. It's his collaboration, obviously, with Civivi. For those specs, blade a little bit less than 3 inches, Nitro V, common scales. A lot of times, Civivi would immediately offer discounts on those knives. Maybe they don't do that anymore. $74 may be the price. A knife in the past that could be $50, and maybe with the tariffs it bumps up to $75, maybe $80. Suddenly the impulse purchase doesn't feel as good. So the price barrier becomes a mental check for all of us, and that could be a good thing. So suddenly we ask ourselves, do I really need this item? Will it really improve my daily carry? No. Does the shit I already have suffice? Yes. Or am I just chasing the next shiny object? Most likely. Let's think about some common things that are probably going to go up price wise because of the tariffs, and things that we may not want to dive deep into anymore. The first thing, hands down, are going to be metals: stainless steels, aluminiums, titanium, brass, copper, tools, steels, especially. Now, a lot of that stuff is domestic, but some stuff is not. Leatherman makes a lot of stuff in Mexico. A lot of their plier heads come from Mexico. Some of their multi-tools are 100, are made in America. They can carry that title, but not all of them. The Wave Plus is not 100% made in America. The Signal, you do have stuff such as the Mutts and the Arc, the Free P4, the Free Series. Those are made in the USA. But will these prices stay stable? Are they going to stay what we're used to? $119 is about where the Wave Plus always lives. The Arc has always been $249. That's made in America. But is this exactly where they're going to stay? We think about the companies that are pumping out stuff directly from China. Companies like Olight. Is Olight going to absorb the 34% tariff, or is that something that's going to be passed down in the new pricing of their flashlights? What Olight normally does, their pricing strategy, is to put stuff out at an MSRP, then they'll discount it to the price they want to sell it at, and then every now and again they have an even stronger discount that they do for some of their sales that they do all the time. I mean, is the Olight O-Clip Pro, which I'm a big fan of, $39. This thing normally sells like a sale price, $31, or Is that going to come back again? Are they going to absorb that into the pricing? You normally sometimes can snatch up the arc felt 3-in-1 for 109. It's 119 right now. Will that pricing come back? Like that type of stuff is what we're thinking about when we're thinking about metals. But it's not just the things that we think about immediately. Some of my favorite items could be affected by this. The Hero Clips by Gear Aid. Their stuff is coming from overseas, whether it's the large, the medium, the small, or the mini. I have all 4 sizes. I've paid all 4 prices. I'm curious, do these things stick around? I'm not 100% sure if that's something that is going to be able to stay as is when it comes to everyday carry type of items. Metals, I think, is something that we think of immediately when it comes to EDC, but something else when it comes to the world of EDC is going to be leather. Now, a lot of stuff is made here in America, but as long as we're like harvesting, we're getting the stuff from the States, from hides, from animals here in the States, then prices may be better under control. Navs has their leather strap that they sell, very reasonable price. One that I want to get from Montana Knife Company's always sold out. Do I pick this one up? Is it made in America? I don't know, but that's the type of stuff you have to think about. Of course, it's just not simply going to be straps. We're thinking about key organizers. For the most part, you probably got your stuff already decked out, but I purchased the Orbit Key Pro. I paid $61 on a sale that they had. This is the normal price, $65. A lot of their stuff is coming from Europe. A lot of the leather that they get comes from Europe. I don't know if they get it from Europe and then ship it to China, then put it together and ship it to America. Like, it's crazy how we can think about how these different mechanisms can be all orchestrated when it comes to everyday carry. And then we just think about one of the most common things, which are wallets. I mean, Esker is pumping out a lot of stuff made of leather, some stuff made in America, most stuff is not. Ridge is doing the same thing as well. If you've been thinking about buying some of their new stuff, because they have new items, they have stuff that just dropped. Literally, they have the Esker Wallet Pro that they just dropped, and they have all the bifolds that they've been having in the past. Is that something that we think about when it comes to the metal, the leather? Easy something to predict, but one thing that we 100% have to think about are plastics, polymers, rubbers, all that type of stuff that is incorporated within our everyday carry that we may not necessarily consider. Of course, we always have a polymer handled knife, but a lot of flashlights, the housings of those flashlights, the base layer of those are polymer, such as the Streamlight Wedge. Love the Streamlight Wedge. The basis of the flashlight is polymer. The pricing of that could go up. When I bought my Streamlight Wedge years ago, I paid $81 for it. I had to go look at my price history. It's now $109. Now, I don't know if that's directly because of the tariffs. I don't know if it's because it sells really well. It's a great functioning flashlight. I'm not really sure, but that's something you have to think about as well. Is it the newest, best flashlight that you want? Is it something that you're ready to snatch up? Gear acquisition syndrome may kick in and stop you from doing it. Polymer scale knives, also PEI knives that are straight up plastic, those could be affected as well, because a lot of that stuff we import, and then we may finish making the knife here in the States, but a lot of the baseline of it comes from materials overseas. So we think about, why do we want something that's made of polymer or plastic? Because it's lightweight, it's durable, it's relatively affordable, but the affordability part goes away. Maybe you don't necessarily want something that's polymer anymore. But one of the biggest topics, one of the biggest targets, one of the things that has me by the scrotum sack when it comes to gear acquisition syndrome is EDC electronics. Okay, when it comes to my cell phone, I love my Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. We've already seen price creep come up when the Google Pixel 9 series dropped. The Pixel 9a came out at $499. People had their freaking panties all in a bunch about it. Apple makes a lot of stuff overseas. All you folks that like your smart watches, I'm still trying to get you away from those, but your Apple watches, your Google Pixel, your Pixel watches, your Samsung watches, the pricing of those could be affected as well. Your e-readers is not necessarily just stuff that has to do with your cell phones and stuff like that, but some of us are book nerds, book worms, and we want to be able to read I can remember organically in my head that Kindles used to be 99 bucks. Now this is the paper white version, and I don't know if it's just that much better. I don't have a clue. I just know back in the day when I bought a Kindle, they were $99. They're $160 now. Is it something different about this one? I don't know, but that's something to consider as well. Going deeper into it, the little earbuds that we put in our ears using for the gym, using them from workout, these are things that we may decide to pump the brakes on that we don't need to make those purchases for. But it's not just all EDC. Some of the stuff for your prep and SHTF could be affected as well. I own a Garmin GPS held device, and I pay a monthly subscription for that. Is it time for you to make the purchase now? A lot of those components come from overseas, or the entire thing is made overseas. And if you're thinking about doing some backpacking, or if you want to be able to send satellite messages to your family in a bug out situation, maybe you make those purchases now. I'm not quite sure. Or you're the type of person that likes to document your life with your EDC equipment, and you want to carry one of the most popular daily cameras that are on the market right now, the Osmo Pocket 3. This thing pumps out, if you want to just get the baseline model, $619. And this 100% comes from China. Osmo, DJI's already delayed the import of one of their newest drones because of the price of the tariffs. So that might just squelch your gear acquisition syndrome if the item is totally unavailable. Nintendo has pumped the brakes on the Switch 2. DJI has pumped the brakes on the Mavic, I think the 4, whatever they're calling that drone. So the forced deliberation that comes with the tariffs might be a good thing. It's going to force us to focus on quality instead of quantity. Also, other prices in your life may be increasing that have nothing to do with EDC. It could be crops. We get a lot of crops from grain and stuff from overseas that affects grocery prices. You may not have the way to be able to spend money on your prep and your EDC type of items. Instead of buying 5 budget knives, we might invest in one high quality, long lasting knife from a domestic creator. I haven't even mentioned that yet. I've just talked about how tariffs could affect our thirst for buying cheap goods from overseas. Of course, there probably will never be a day where there is a factory that makes the little umbrellas that go in your tropical drink while you're sitting at a bar. That shit's probably still going to come from overseas because, listen, we like manufacturing jobs, but none of us are trying to sign up to make the little umbrellas that go in the tropical drinks. But tariffs can also push us towards domestic options. With imported goods becoming pricier, we discovering amazing creators, amazing companies here within the States. It can help boost the local economy. And I am not trying to talk about the politics of tariffs because I know what a tariff is. It is a tax on a good that is imported. Okay. I understand the basics of that. And organically, some goods that are made here in the States cost more because labor costs more here in the States. Not necessarily always materials, but labor for the most does cost more here in the States. So to find an EDC item from a local business may cost you more money. Handmade wallet from a company here may cost more than just buying some shit from Esker. I understand that. Here's the thing though. Tariffs are not a magic bullet. We don't want the magic bullet or the silver bullet. They are not necessarily going to cure your gear acquisition syndrome. They may just help pump the brakes before you make your next purchase. So what do you think? Are you going to consider your purchases more thoughtfully, more carefully because of the tariffs, which are here on like over 100 countries that make shit for all the companies from Spyderco all the way down to Gerber, back again, up, left, and right. If this is your first time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. Let me know what you think you're going to do when it comes to the tariffs and EDC. If everyone else, we'll speak soon.